Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do today is to show you guys how to remove a bridle from a horse. And the first thing you're going to want to do is open up your Photoshop. Obviously mine's already open. And then I'm going to zoom in a little bit because I want to have the image bigger so I can work with it a little bit easier. And the first thing you're going to do, you can do this a couple of ways, but I'm going to show you one that's a little bit easier for me, and it's going to involve the use of the patch tool and the clone tool, and also the lasso tool a little bit. So what I'm going to do first is select the lasso tool. If your polygonal lasso tool isn't selected, you're going to click and hold, and you're going to select that. And I'm going to start out with, I'm going to work on the noseband section. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to do the whole bridle because the video will be too long. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to do this. And I'm not going to go up through where the blaze is on the horse because otherwise the color won't blend right. So I'm going to start out with just this area right here. And I'm going to, once I've done that and I've double clicked to get the marquee around it, I'm going to go back to the patch tool. You're probably going to see your healing brush tool there, so you may have to click and hold and select patch. Make sure source is selected under patch. You're going to click inside the selection and you're going to drag. You're not going to want to drag somewhere that's going to have a noticeable mark, such as right here, that dark spot, because it's going to be obvious that you took that part of the image and put it somewhere else. So I'm going to try about here. Looks pretty good. And as you can see, it did blend it. It's not perfect, obviously, because you're not done yet, but it did a pretty good job. So now I'm going to hit Command D. I'm on a Mac. If you're on Windows, that should be your Control D. I'm not totally positive. It depends on how your keyboard shortcuts are set up. So I'm going to hit Command D, and that's going to deselect that. Next thing I'm going to do is go back to the lasso tool, and now I'm going to work where the blaze is. I'm going to select the bridle part and get here and then double click, and then I'm going to go back to the patch tool and I'm going to drag it down to a spot that's wide enough that I'm not going to get any of the background in it because otherwise it'll mess up your image. So I'm going to go about here. Alright, and as you can see, again, it blended it, Control D, or Command D, I'm sorry. And then I'm going to go to the clone tool. And I'm going to reduce the brush size to about 6. We'll try that. And if you're on a Mac, you're going to hold down your Option, which actually is also your Alt. And on Windows, you're going to hold down your Alt, and you're going to click. And as you can see, there's a line right here where the muscles in the horse's face go, and there's also one here. So I'm going to try to replicate that first off. So I'm going to click there, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag a little bit. It's not going to be perfect right off, and you may need to alt-click in the same spot again to restart there, because it's not going to restart in the same spot all the time. It's going to start where you left off when you stopped dragging down. And as you can see, now it looks like there's the muscle right there. Now I'm going to click down here, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to keep doing that until this is all smoothed out. And the reason I selected that area down here as opposed to what was just here was because it was a little less grainy looking. And that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to try just smoothing these little areas here out. Oops. And I'm going to Control Z to undo that. As you can see, I didn't use the Alt key again. And now that looks a little bit less pixely. Now I'm going to go over the blaze, and I'm going to alt-click, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to smooth it, cover up that little black. He'll have a little bit of an extra addition to the blaze there, but it's not real noticeable. And then I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to start going here to cover up this portion of the bridle. Sometimes you may just have to repeat and click rather than clicking and dragging because it'll make it a little bit smoother. If you want, you can drag your brush size down a little bit more. I'm going to go here where it's a little bit darker and replicate that down to his nose and muzzle. And you can keep doing it, you know, it's a patience thing, it's not really that difficult. But in the meantime, if you zoom out, you can do Command plus or minus on your Mac, or I would assume Control plus or minus on your Windows to zoom back out to your actual size. which is right there, as you can tell, 100%. And there's your image. You're now missing a noseband.